I'm here today with Sylvia Brallier, the author of Dancing in the Eye of Transformation. And not only is she a very gifted author, healer, friend, but she's also been a wonderful mentor and has worked with my children on many occasions, and I really value her opinion. Sylvia, I know that you work with many people in managing their psychic abilities, and you've certainly helped my children very much. But I know you also work with adults. How is it for you different to work with children as opposed to working with adults?
Well, I think that you've got to reach people where they are. Whether it's any adult or any child, it's going to be a little bit of a different approach, because you have to feel what they feel comfortable with and work inside of those boundaries or conditions, because the only way that you can help anyone is to be a good friend. And so that means, you can't push your agenda, you can't tell them they gotta believe or do a certain thing, really. Everything has to be a relationship. And interestingly enough, with children you can achieve more in less time than you can with an adult, because an adult has so many layers of machinations and thoughts and, traumas on top of everything, whereas children, it's right there. It's much more present and uncovered, and that's one aspect of it. The other is you have to tread a little more carefully with children. Even more so, because with an adult you assume that there's a certain knowledge base in place, and with children you can't make that assumption.
Do you feel being empathic yourself and growing up as a psychically sensitive child helps you in working with children?
Oh, enormously. Because as an empath, you can feel where people are at, and so you have a better idea of where to go with any piece of work. It's not like you're just following a formula. It's not a formula. It's where is the opening in the energy, and you can feel that. Part of my philosophy about being an empath is a lot of people develop their empathic gifts as a way to stay safe. Because if they know what's going around, if an empath knows what's going on around them, they know how to position themselves to be safe, what to avoid and what move towards. So the trick is like, how do you stay in who you are and not always be shifting to your environment, because you can lose track of your own center that way. So this is with children in particular, it's challenging because on one hand they are a child, they are their own autonomous being that they need to settle into. On the other hand, they're a child that is going to be subject to the whims of the parents or the school or whatever, and it's managing that very subtle pass-through between how do you help them to be really in their center and in their truth, and yet also managing the fact that they don't really have the freedom that adults have.
Right.
So having the parents on board is so important.
Well, you speak about being an empath as if it's a positive thing. Many times I come across people and they're so overwhelmed by the feelings, and they're so closed in by the sensations they experience by being an empath. So how can you turn it around for them and make it into a positive experience like it's been for yourself?
Well, that's the thing. I've learned to take my gift and run with it, learning to use it to help people. And so a lot of people who are psychotherapists, even doctors or people in the helping fields, social workers, whatnot, they're empaths. That's part of why they do, because they can feel, they have compassion for what's going on for people. So it's being able to have the difference between having compassion for someone and being the emotion they're feeling. It's being able to make that distinction between identification with it.
So you can actually teach someone where they stop and start and the other person.
That is the idea. And the thing is these gifts aren't like, here's a lesson, bang, you do it. It's a thing that you practice. It becomes a way of being that you put into action. It's not, there's not like a little magic bullet that suddenly makes it better, but there are specific tools that can radically alter your relationship to being an empath, and they're not that hard to learn. That's the great news.
Well, I know that because it's made a tremendous difference in my empathic children to work with you. Thank you.